Hey, peace, beloved brethren, on this wonderful Sabbath. Um, the topic is dealing with boredom and being bored. And you find this in people that are occupied in a lot of sin or weren't taught well as children, which obviously is the majority of our people, even if they had, a mother and father that paid the bills or gave them food or didn't neglect them outwardly. Um, Being someone that's bored is typically someone that's full of sin or full of like dangerous excitement, sinful excitement. So whenever you hear or you're the type of person that, sister's always bored, or you see kids that can't sit still, or they need constant stimulation, that's someone that needs to start to learn how to rule their spirit, how to start to govern themselves, start to fix themselves mentally, and start to replace the things they like to do with more virtue, with better behavior, learning how to do well, learning how to be good, which comes from the scriptures. To prove this point, let's get this is the 1769 King James Version Bible. By the Heavenly Father's grace, what and mercies and spirit is what I teach the Bible through. And any true servants will teach this Bible. So this is the word of Heavenly Father translated from the original Hebrew Greek tongues into our modern English. So let's get Ecclesiasticus 33. And we read a powerful precept related to this sort of boredom and things that it's normal for women. They get bored, they scratch themselves, everything bores them. A man that's not offering them a lot of money or telling them something like he's an international spy and stand-up comedian that's not entertaining them 24/7. They get bored, and these are a result of being so captive and controlled by demons that they don't really understand how is a proper way to be. They just go from feelings and stimulations rather than, or powerful emotions and drama rather than really understanding how to learn how to be and how to be temperate, how to have self-control, how to be occupied in good things and necessary things in life, not just good things. So typically people that talk about being bored, they don't have a job. Their whole life is looking into their phone and using their phone, just living like a child rather than dealing as an adult or a child that's well nurtured and taught properly. So you'll see boredom a lot in little children or children that were never taught, and then they become adolescents and adults. And you see this a lot in our women today because they weren't taught, and a lot of the men that are responsible for teaching them weren't there. And their single mothers or parents or guardians don't have the understanding to teach them. So Ecclesiastes 33, verse 27, send him to labor, that he be not idle, for idleness teacheth much evil. Meaning that someone, especially even if they're an employee or there's someone that does work for you, you're supposed to give them enough labor to keep them occupied and busy. Because ultimately, if you have a person that's idle or they're not busy, so they have a chance to be bored because they're not occupied, that being free of time and responsibilities and not doing anything, not being occupied, is going to teach them great evil. It's going to teach them all manner of sins. Let's get another precept. So this is for men or women, because you have a lot of our young men that are occupied in violence and gangs and robbing and murder and thieving and selling drugs, because instead of being occupied in constructive things and working that which is good with their hands, or studying and learning, a trade, or learning, the information that they would learn in college so that they ultimately are qualified to get a particular job. Instead of them doing that, they're just sort of wild and free. So their boredom, now someone's going to get robbed because they're bored. They need something stimulating. Need to have sex with a woman, need to come up to a dude and start trouble and start trying to grab or disrespectfully interact with him and his woman because they're bored. So if someone isn't doing what they're supposed to or laboring in the ways that they're supposed to, they're going to be occupied in wickedness. That's why the scriptures command us in Proverbs 22:6 to train up a child in the way that he should go so that he won't depart from it. So again, you hear this a lot, and you're only going to hear it more and more because people are so consumed with demons that they only get stimulated by more dangerous and dangerous things. The same way, like a drug addict, they may start off smoking weed or doing something that people are considered legal or light, or it's legal today or legal in states, whatever. We're not supposed to be smoking anything. Period. When we read Psalms 104, verse 14, the fact that you cough uncontrollably the same way you would if you were in a fire and about to die of smoke inhalation is the same effect you have whether you smoke weed or tobacco or any other things that are technically natural, but you smoke it and you pervert its natural use by smoking it. Okay. With damaging effects to your lungs, much more than just you coughing at the moment. It's showing your body's repelling it and letting you know it's not something that's natural or normal. It's not just a bitter taste. You don't like it, but it's going to heal you and help you because it's natural. This is something different. So not getting off topic, but because so many of our brothers, to escape reality or being bored, they're going to smoke weed or whatever. So, and sisters too. So we're just touching on that point, but we're going to continue. So now we are leaving Ecclesiastes 33:27. Read the whole Ecclesiastes, the 33rd chapter, and really the whole book of Ecclesiasticus. Again, you're not going to find it in the King James Version Bible. You're going to find it in the 1611 King James Version Bible or the 1769 King James Version Bible. So let's go now to Ecclesiasticus 30. The first 12, 13 verses deal with raising children, a phenomenal chapter of commandments, wisdom, understanding of the relationship between a child and their parent, and the parent and the child, and how as parents you're supposed to raise and teach your children. These are scriptures that have to be a priority to know, and by not knowing these scriptures, our people have all types of problems. But to prevent your children from being bored or then being occupied in much wickedness, to keep them from being bored and too free, they're going to occupy themselves in something, occupy them in these type of things that we're going to go over. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 30 and verse 11. It says, give him no liberty in his youth and wink not at his follies. So you can't let your child roam free. Your idea of raising a child so you can have whatever free time you desire, as if you're not a mother, is to put them in front of an iPad or a television or some other electronic apparatus and let them watch a cartoon or a movie or, do whatever they want, surf online or look up stuff. No, you're not supposed to let a child do what they want, especially your daughters going out with their friends, going to sleep over a friend's house. You cannot give your child those liberties. You have to watch your child, even if they're staying at a relative's house, because some relatives are child molesters. You have many women that choose a man and they know that he's sick mentally, but they don't want to be alone, or they don't really care about anybody else. Or they like that they know secrets about people. There's some messed up people in our families and everywhere else. So you can't let your children as sheep go in the midst of wolves just doing stuff so you could have a free night to yourself. Those free nights to yourself can be much more costly than the limited benefit you'll have for an evening of not having children that you can't escape. You want your children to turn out good. You don't want to be looking for an exit door or strategizing how to escape your kids or have freedom in that way. Put your household in order. Put your kids to bed in time. Get your kids in order. You'll have great freedom right in your house with your kids. Let's continue. Let's jump down to verse 13. It says, chastise thy son and hold him to labor. So you're supposed to physically discipline your children. They can't be talking to you and telling you whatever they want, or talking bad about their dad, whether or not you're not with them, or talking bad about grandma, or talking bad about mom, whether she wasn't a great mom or she's not with you. That's not their place. It's not saying to deny truth. It's saying that they still have to control their mouth and can't just say or do whatever they want. So let's read it again. This is Ecclesiastes 30, verse 13. Chastise thy son. You're supposed to discipline your child. The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 15. So what else are we learning now? It says, and hold him to labor. So not only are you supposed to discipline your son, you're supposed to give them chores. You're supposed to give them chores according to their ability. So if they're little and they have little fingers and they can't, wash dishes or wash clothes or do certain things, or go to the store by themselves or do errands that help the household and help mom, single moms, or help their dad or whoever, or grandparents or aunts and uncles that they're visiting. You're to structure what they can do according to their ability. As little children, as adolescents, your kids aren't supposed to be just free and playing video games all day or going out to play, or their whole life is just playing. Their whole life revolves from playing and then playing some more. I didn't get a chance to play, let a kid be a kid. No, you're supposed to train up a child in the way that he should go. He's going to be an adult most of his life. She's going to be an adult the majority of her life if she lives long, if he lives long. If you fail, their life will be cut in half and cut short, like the Lord said in Psalms 55, verse 23, which is the majority of what a lot of our people go through. Their kids dying young, or them not living a full life, or living a horrible life and they're dying young or untimely. So as we see, you have to, this is a commandment. This isn't a suggestion. That sounds good, but that ain't really going to work for me. Or that's an ancient time. No, truth is timeless. The commandments are timeless and benefit us. So by not doing these and other commandments, you have a whole sea of our young women, older women, grandmothers. Every woman's bored, looking for a court jester or an entertainer, instead of learning how to be a helpmeet to her man, a help proper to her man or to any man, so she can be chosen and cared for, and they can be blessed of the Heavenly Father. Or she can be a good woman even if she doesn't have a man, because her mind is right. She's not getting bored of her marriage, bored of her relationship, turning like the wind or the moon, changing daily. That's how the Lord shows us that, even though that's the case and it's now converted to be the norm, because many people, their lives go this way, or being bored is a normal thing, normal conversation. How do you even, when you have someone that's actively worshiping the Heavenly Father, which is a daily thing, not going to some physical church thing, you're going to be occupied in getting your house in order, getting your life in order, fixing yourself. That word bored is not in your language anymore, not in your vocabulary, because you're going to be occupied in the right things, not just working or running a business or making money. You're going to be handling the Lord's business. You're going to get your whole life in order. Let's finish up. So it says, and hold him to labor, lest his lewd behavior be an offense unto thee. So as we read in Ecclesiastes 33 and 27, that when you're idle, when you don't have any responsibilities, when you're not doing things, even as a child, even as a mother, even as an adult, even as an adolescent woman, that should be learning how to cook, learning how to clean, learning how to reason, learning how men think, learning how life works. Not just sitting on her phone flirting with dudes or deciding if she's going to be a lesbian this week, but actually being occupied in virtuous things and good things that are beneficial objectively. You might not know the Bible, yet there's a difference between a girl that's at home doing nothing, going and having sex with different men, and her parents are the last ones to find out until she's pregnant or didn't want to have another abortion. You have to hold your children to labor. You have to give them responsibilities. You have to hold them to chores. They have responsibilities, not just to clean their room. That's not my laundry. I'm not doing it. You have kids that are running you. You don't have your house in order. So you don't have time to be bored. Single mothers, sisters, whoever, but by you being out of order, by you not having your life structured how our Creator commands us, you're suffering as a consequence, and you're going through needless problems. So that's why it's time to slow down and really understand why you're bored, because you're full of sin and you're full of laziness. You're full of not doing what you're supposed to. So you're bored and your whole mind is twisted up because you're not living the life how you should. All right. There's obviously more precepts on this topic, but make sure that you're starting to get your mind right by learning what virtue is, what good things are, what the right behaviors and mindset is, rather than just doing what comes normal to you or what you see around you. Because as we see that's deadly, and a lot of people are suffering because they're looking at people around them and saying, oh, okay, this is how life is. And that's not how life is supposed to be, even if others we see go through similar things. All honor, praise, and glory to our Almighty Heavenly Father through his word in our life, the biblical Jesus Christ. Peace.